sitting here in this studio since 8:30.
I told you 8:40.
You did tell me 8:40. I ignored it. You said early, so I showed up early.
Yeah.
I didn't read your 8:40. I just immediately said and I put a million H's so that you knew that I was acknowledging it, but not saying anything interesting. And that's that. So
yeah. Well, we are trying something new today.
We're trying a lot of things new every single day, Gavin.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's that.
Well, how was your day, Russell, my friend?
My day was fine. It's not a Monday, so we are on some basic water today.
Yeah. I don't have any water with me right now. Probably should.
Unbelievable, Gavin. The one time I drink check you, and you don't have a drink at all, even once I've made the effort to go to the lowest common denominator of just water.
You say the one day and I don't have anything, as if the last 4 streams I haven't had anything recently. It's been kind of rough.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what else is kind of rough, Gavin? That you're not going to be able to say anything after I hit this button.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MLS Now podcast. I'm your host, Russell. You can find me on social media at Mr. Danger Russ. And remember, you can find the podcast on social media at MLS Now Podcast, as well as online at mlsnowpodcast.com. Joining me today is the man who falls to 0-2 in our friendly competition of who can throw less money into a fire. You can find him on social media at LionsBlog1. It's Gavin. Gavin, hello. You were falling behind in our competition, and you were falling behind on showing up on time to the studio today. So you're 0-2 in multiple ways.
I told you 8:40-ish, not 8:30-ish.
And I ignored that, and I showed up at 8:30. So you're late.
So how am I late? Yeah,
you also weren't here at 8:40.
No, that's fair.
So not only were you late for my arbitrary deadline, but you were late for the deadline that you imposed as well.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Look, okay, 8:42 was the time, and I really wish you wouldn't have reminded me of the fact that I'm still at zeros for the 3 legs.
Still at zeros, which is insane, Gavin, because you've been taking some of the safest, most conservative bets. And meanwhile, I hit on a plus 2,000 on Wednesday night. So
it's ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, that felt great. I got to tell you.
Oh, I'm sure that did feel great. Yeah.
Felt wonderful. I almost cashed it out at like $60, and I was like, "Does this count as a W?" And you were like, "You can cash it out, but it's not going to count as a W." And I was like, "I'll let it ride." Anyways, I won. So
congratulations.
Thank you, Gavin, for forcing me to make more money than I would have if I had just cashed it out.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think you should send over like $20 my way.
No, not happening. Zero chance. Sorry.
Do we have a I guess we should have done these logistics prior to kicking off the episode. But do we have
are we doing it live?
Do we have
a big story?
Or are we just doing some news roundup? What are we doing?
The only news worth talking about, it's Gary Smith fired today. Got his 100th club win with that 2-0 win over Toronto. The very next morning, whoosh, got the axe.
Yeah.
He's out. In fairness, it was time. The fans had been clamoring for it. The players, honestly, looked like they had been awaiting it. They're not the only ones that I think are awaiting a coach to be sacked, but Gary Smith was the first. Certainly won't be the last this season. So it's very, very relevant considering we had Christian on the last episode that we had put out Monday, and we talked about when is it time to move on from a coach. Nashville ownership must have listened to us and said, right now's the time. So we take full credit for that. We had nothing to do with it, but we take credit. So
I think that's justified. Yeah, I think that's justified.
Yeah, absolutely. When you call your shot, you got to take the credit.
Yeah. So also, before we dive too deep into Gary Smith, I guess I forgot to call out for our listeners, we're trying something new on YouTube with a actual overlay, so it's not just our faces. It's our faces with some pretty background on the YouTubes now. So if you want to come check it out, we'd appreciate it. Some work went into it, and we're going to see if it works. And if not, we'll keep trying something else. And also, when we're doing the reviews of the games, we're going to be pulling up the screen just so you have stuff to look at, like some of the stats, the lineups, some of the shots, stuff like that. So stay tuned if you're watching, and if you are listening, come check us out when we're live Mondays, usually at 9 o'clock. But there were matches on Wednesday, so we decided to put in some overtime this weekend.
An enormous number of matches, Gavin. I just want to say I absolutely hate that Wednesday 7:30 matches exist. I loved the ability to watch soccer. It's just I hated that this was like 12 matches on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and I went to my match, and so I had to catch up on all the other matches essentially, except for the last ones of the night, which is exactly what happens on Saturdays.
100%. But I will tell you this, Gavin, I think that you were lucky to be at that match. You got to witness a momentous occasion.
Do share. What was my momentous occasion?
Miami completely floundering, hitting the over on goals, which I think they haven't had that happen. Like any Miami match has hit the over on goals this season.
Yeah.
This might have been the first, maybe second one all season that they did not hit the over, which was insane. I mean, it was
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because the over was set at like 3.5.
Yeah.
Was like the default over. So anyone who took that missed by 4 goals. So, oof.
If you hit the under, congratulations. You won it by a landslide.
Absolutely. If you hit draw, no score, somehow, if you were a mad person and chose to do that, really well done.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we talk Gary Smith? I kind of derailed us there.
That's okay. I'm always happy to get derailed. Hey, what's the deal with airline food, Gavin?
Okay, Gary Smith. Yeah, I put out a tweet earlier. It was time. Even though they won, like I think the writing was on the wall for him, and it's interesting to think about. Like, he's made playoffs all of his years in Nashville, right? So like technically he's succeeded, right? At each one of those years, he's hit the benchmark that the league sets. Obviously, internally, they probably had their internal benchmarks where they wanted to go a little bit further and whatnot. But the brand of soccer they're playing, there's no like real
joy,
I can't even think of the term. Like
entertainment.
It doesn't look like they're moving forward. It's very just stale. Yeah. Stagnant. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. That's a good word for it. So it's just stagnant. And finally, the fans were kind of calling for it ages ago. Wyatt last week or on Monday, not even last week, was saying that fans were booing when they called him out. It was time.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I know. Granted, I think Gary Smith is the only coach Nashville has ever had.
I think that is correct. Yeah.
Which is really quite impressive because that kind of puts him in the same conversation as Adrian Heath, where similarly, I think Adrian Heath was like one of, if not the only coach Minnesota ever had.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Because Minnesota wasn't in USL, right? Or were they?
I don't think they were.
Yeah.
If they were, I don't recall them in there.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was. Those were the two teams.
Yeah.
And any other team? I guess Austin, with Wolf.
Yeah, I guess Wolf has been coach the entire time there. Hey, when San Francisco joins the league, their coach will have been their only coach ever.
Oh, we've got someone in the chat telling us we're wrong. What's new?
Oh, It was all Gavin. It's Gavin's fault for confirming it.
Chase Martins is saying Minnesota was indeed in USL. It's all like weird. Wow. But yeah. Okay. So thanks for correcting us there. Chase.
Dude, live fact check. I love it.
Yep. So okay. Anything else on Gary Smith other than it was stagnant, no path forward, it was time?
It was time.
Not too much of a surprise.
No. In fact, I would go so far as to say it was overdue.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, hey, just before we move on, want to make any predictions? Who's next? Do you want to throw out 3 names, power ranking of who gets fired first?
Yeah, sure.
And if there was actually a follow-up question, who would you bring in to Nashville if you were being told, oh, MLS is telling us to do the thing that we always do in MLS and upcycle coaches that have been fired from other clubs? Because I would say Savarese is who I would bring in, but I'm not sure if you have a different person in mind.
Okay, so Chase said that we were actually right. They were NASL, so live re-fact checked.
Yeah, live fact check of the fact check by the person who fact checked us.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Love it.
Okay, I've got Pineda on the list. I don't know if you do.
Yeah. Pineda's, he's on my list.
Who are the other teams doing really poor? San Jose. So I guess Lucci.
Yeah, I still think Lucci Gonzalez, even with now, granted, I think they've had 2 wins in a row now, so his seat's got to be.
Oh, that's true. They've been in good form recently. They lost this midweek, but we'll get on to that. Yeah. I think Klopas is in there.
I hope Klopas is in there for his sake and the sake of every single Chicago Fire fan.
And then I think Pareja.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know.
I could see Pareja being a similar one to Gary Smith. Later on in the season, probably. Maybe. But I can't think of anyone who's above him in this moment, unless Philadelphia really start to tank.
No, Jim Curtin's not going anywhere.
Right. Okay, so
Caleb Porter should be, but he won't be. So.
Oh, Caleb Porter. Okay, I'll put Caleb Porter in the 3. So those would be my 3. That's a good call. Pineda, Caleb Porter,
Lucci.
Okay.
I dig it, but it's apparently not Nick Cushing anymore. So.
No, not anymore. Not right now. They're doing great.
Yeah.
And then anyone any MLS coaches from previous?
If you were gonna upcycle someone who was an MLS coach who's available or maybe could be persuaded to come back for Nashville.
What's Patrick Vieira up to? Is he coaching right now?
It's a good question. Is he? Maybe I'll Google that. I can hear you typing away.
I'm typing
it too. Yeah. No, I hear it.
Oh, maybe this is here. Oh, there we go.
Patrick
Boom.
Vieira.
Look at that.
Is a League
Strasbourg.
One. Yeah.
Strasbourg. How are they doing?
It's a League One club, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the player. I don't care about the player. I already know he was amazing.
Okay, they're not doing well.
Where they at?
13th in League One. I mean, they're not getting relegated, but they're not doing well.
So let's get Patrick Vieira fired and signed up for Nashville.
Dude, I mean, if you want to... Wayne Rooney's already ahead of him. He was already fired.
No, Wayne Rooney does not need to be in this league.
Fact.
Or he does not need to be a head coach either. I don't know. I can't really... I guess Bruce Arena.
Yeah, Bruce Arena is the person
The stuff.
I bet that he will be allowed to return to MLS. I just don't know where.
He's so old, though.
He's an icon. Yeah. I think someone will bring him back. Probably. Could be Nashville.
Maybe Portland.
Portland? Don't they have Phil Neville?
Yeah. I mean, do you see what they've been up to?
Well, yeah, they won this past week, so.
Yeah, they were down 2-0 at home to San Jose before a red card.
I know. Hey, look, we're gonna talk about that. We'll
Okay,
get there.
okay. Shall we get into the matches? I feel like we should do a quick episode since.
Yeah, we'll do a light speed episode on this one, which means it's only going to be 90 minutes instead of 2.5 hours. Okay, Gavin, I liked what we did last week, but not for the purposes of a weekly show. I think that's going to be better for like a mid-season review of each team. So we're going back.
That's fair.
Based on some feedback that we got as well from various people who reached out. So we appreciate all of that. Dana, who commented within our most recent stream, actually gave an excellent suggestion that I'm trying to figure out a way to work in. It's going to take me a little more time to do some topics in that style. So we're going back just for this week, at least, to the old way. I've got 3 different topics to lump games into. Gavin, your topics are:
let's do it.
2 halves make a whole,
okay,
fine margins, and smells like team spirit.
Fine margins. Let's get those out of the way.
All right.
A lot of marginal games this week.
A lot of marginal games. We got 5 of them. We've got FC Cincinnati 1, Atlanta United 0.
All right, let me pull that game up.
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay.
Please do, Gavin. Let me know when I may
You can start. You can start. Go ahead.
I can start? Wow.
Yeah, so here's the lineups. There we go.
So anyways, while Gavin has that pulled up, probably notable thing here is FC Cincinnati, once again, it's a 1-goal victory. Death taxes FC Cincinnati winning by 1-goal margin. These are the 3 things you can count on in life. They go up early, 7th minute, I want to say, off a Kevin Kelsey goal. It's his 2nd goal in 2 matches for FCC. I think he's had 2 sub appearances now, and then this was his first official start. So very, very important goal. Looked almost identical to the Columbus goal. So I mean, he knows what he's good at. So that said, played very strong at first and then kind of let Atlanta back into it. I would go so far as to say that maybe Atlanta are almost unlucky based on some of the opportunities that were given to them to not have found a goal in this match. However, I mean, that they're in a weird spot right now that they're not finishing consistently, and they're relying heavily on Giacomakis to make magic happen. So again, fine margins. When your players aren't finishing shots, then sometimes games that you might have been able to get a draw in, you lose. That said, I mean, there was phenomenal defensive work rate from Miazga and Robinson. So, it got to give FC Cincinnati their due, but certainly this was a marginal game. Atlanta could have made more of it, but
go
ahead.
No, it's a question for you, Mr. FC Cincinnati expert. What's with all the 1-0s? Or the close games? Like, what's going on with that?
Well, we spent a large part of the season having no real attacking threat, and we have a very good defense. I said this at the start of the season. I think FC Cincinnati might have the best defense in the league. And they've given up, 7 goals, 8 goals all season so far?
I mean, I'm looking through your fixtures. You haven't won an MLS game by more than 1 goal. Is that correct? This season?
That sounds right, yeah.
I'm seeing 2 1s and 1 0s, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So very close games for you guys. So you think it's just the attack?
The attack is getting better. Having Kelsey back in there as a target striker is certainly something that's going to help FCC get some consistency and be able to unlock a little more in the way of balls that can be played in, instead of having to try and play the same way to 2 strikers that look exactly the same in the way that they play. So yeah, I would say they were missing desperately the target 9, and they've got 2 goals from their target 9 back to back. So
that was going to be my other question for you.
Yeah.
Is Kelsey kind of the new Vasquez?
I don't know yet.
He's looking the part right now.
He's looking the part, but the thing is, Vasquez was also a streaky player. He would have really, really hot streaks, and then he would go, 3-4 matches with basically no goals, no assists, looking, just like he was out there and trying to get out of a funk. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, Kelsey's young. He's 19, pump the brakes on him a little bit. Like, young players, and you and I know this from watching Bukayo Saka grow up, can have seasons where like they look amazing one week, they look like they have no clue the next, they look amazing again for 3 more weeks, and you're like, they've figured it out, and then they go on like a 2.5-month spell where it's just like they struggle nonstop. So yeah, I don't know yet.
Okay.
Signs look really good at first. I mean, everything is appearing positive, but he's 19. There's a lot still to uncover.
Okay. And then what'd you make of Atlanta? We can focus on them real quick, not for long.
They look like they're done with Pineda.
Okay. I mean, I figured that's where we were going.
Yeah. Look, you and I have been very low on Pineda for quite a while. The players, they can say outwardly, yeah, we support Pineda. Their performances really don't look like they support or even enjoy what Pineda's having them do.
Yeah,
They're winless in 7 now. They just lost 3 home matches in a row for the first time in their history. Like, you can say you support the coach, and it might just be because the guy's playing you and you're not feeling challenged as a player, but like, the results don't line up with what we're seeing on the field for them.
Yeah. Dana in the chat said Atlanta's a hot mess right now. Yeah.
They are a hot mess. They are a very, very hot mess.
Usually I don't like talking coaches a ton, but I do think Pineda is the storyline for Atlanta right now. Other than their defense, like, again, Cobb and Abram, I don't think are ideal center backs pairing to be starting.
There's huge drop off. They lost Robinson, and who did they replace him with?
Right now, Cobb. Like, it's pretty rough. So yeah, I think Pineda's at risk, heavily at risk. That's why he was in my 3.
I agree with you.
They have a decent team that should be getting results. Obviously, away to Cincinnati is that's okay if you lose that game, honestly. But it's this on top of everything else, is what I'd say. But we can definitely move on to the next match.
Absolutely. Well, I'm taking us on then. We're going to talk Colorado 1, Vancouver 0. Look, I think the big storyline here, considering the goal stems from it, is the double jeopardy situation. I believe they called it as Dogzo in the box, straight red card and a penalty kick. Vancouver played down a man for the rest of the match, almost half the match. Colorado get their one and only goal on the preceding penalty kick. I hate that.
The double jeopardy?
I really hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% certain if it's a full Dogzo. If I'm being honest, I don't know. But I hate double jeopardy in general. If you're gonna give someone a penalty kick and send them off, that's game changing, especially at 0-0. So
yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from, but also if they're just taking away a goal, obviously, like, what's the directive? If they're not going for the ball at all, they're just taking out the man to stop the goal. That is technically denial of goal scoring opportunity. Right. Whereas if they're going for the ball. So the question in the ref's eyes, right, is are they going for the ball or are they just taking out the man?
Yeah. I still hate it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Legitimately, I really hate it because you're giving like a 75% chance to score. Like, I 100% understand Dogzo because like if you're getting a red and you're further up the field, that's punishment for being like, well, don't stop the guy from going to goal if you get beat and that you're beat. Yeah. But in this case, it's just like you're already going to make up for it by giving them not a free kick, it's a penalty kick, and you're sending them off. I'm like, on principle, I hate it.
I will say, yeah, I get it. I will say, just in terms of the match, I think 1-0 almost favors Vancouver. like Colorado had three or four goals out there that they should have scored.
Yep.
So the fact they only got one was pretty bad for their offense.
Especially considering it came off the PK.
The PK, yeah.
Yeah.
So zero open play goals, as people like to say.
Yeah. My concern is Vancouver has had really, really good spells where they look like a competent team and, extremely well put together, defensively organized, executing a press well, but they're just so inconsistent this year. And like, I'm starting to second guess my rating on Vancouver, if I'm being honest.
That's actually where I was going with my notes on this game too. So it looks like we're on the same page. Vancouver Vancouver are 4 games without a win right now in MLS. Colorado, they lost against LAFC, and then they drew against Austin and drew against Red Bulls.
And then they beat Vancouver. So
who?
And then they beat Vancouver. Colorado did.
Oh no, I'm talking about Vancouver.
Unless you were saying okay.
I'm saying Vancouver is winless in 4.
Gotcha. I thought you said Colorado.
Sorry, my bad. I probably did.
Wow.
So yeah, that's where I was going. Is Vancouver have been going through a rough patch,
they have
inconsistent up and down this season. Don't really know what to make of them yet.
Yeah, I mean they showed such good sparks to start the season, so I want to believe that's still in there, but we'll see. On the Colorado side, it seems like they're figuring it out. They started off the season really slow, but it seems like they're almost doing the SKC thing from last year, where they have like a bad start to a season and then they like go on an absolute tear. Except they're just starting that absolute tear way sooner than SKC did, to the point that they look like they could actually contend for a top spot in the West.
Yeah, I agree. They're starting it sooner. SKC was 11 or 12 games into the season before they finally started picking up steady points.
Yeah,
Colorado's gone. They're picking up points at a steady pace now. Their last 5 is win, loss, win, loss, win. So 3 wins, 2 losses. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do here in the near future. But yeah, they're doing pretty good. They're up to 4th. That win brought them to 4th over Vancouver, who are now down in 7th. But we know that this early in the season, it flip-flops every week. So
it sure will. But it's good signs for Colorado. Seems like things are coming together. I know we were very not optimistic about Armas as a coach, but he's making it work. So
yeah, all right. That one was a little less on the margins, but I'll take it.
It was a little less on the margins. So let's go back to some margins. Austin 1, Houston 0.
Yes.
On
the margins.
On the margins. Like, Aliu misses a crucial goal. Like, from quite a spot. Amongst other things, but it's just like that one jumped out to me because Houston was the last leg that I needed for another like almost plus 2,000 to hit. So
that's rough, my friend. That's rough.
Yeah, they ruined it for me. Austin left it like again super late. What was it, like 84th, 87th minute? A Driussi off a set piece scenario. I mean, yeah, it's like you can't go 80 something minutes looking for your first goal. Like, I don't know. I would say they're lucky that Houston did not find the back of the net because they had chances. And any other night, this match could easily go any other way. Well, honestly, I don't know though, because like Houston had chances, but they've been in such a funk that I don't know. I didn't foresee them losing this game 1-0. Like, I would have at least expected them to get a goal, but
yeah. From what I gathered from this match, because I wasn't able to watch this one in particular, I mean, Austin seemed to have a strong start. I saw they hit the post a couple times in the first 20 minutes. After that, it was just a physical match, lots of fouls. I guess I can pull up the stats real quick, see if they... 15 fouls committed for Austin and 13 fouls committed for Houston. So definitely both teams going at it.
Copa Tejas match.
Yeah. So choppy match as well due to the fouls, and then essentially,
One goal.
yeah, and it's off a corner. Like I literally wrote down that this was just a very MLS match. Like two even teams who aren't amazing, aren't terrible, just decent teams,
Right.
evenly matched. Someone got the odd goal off a corner, and that was the difference.
Yeah, not like honestly, I don't know if I have much more to say on it. Austin are playing the margins all season. It's gone against them sometimes. This match, it went for them.
Mm-hmm.
Houston, I don't know what they're doing right now. I have no clue. I thought I knew, no idea. I'm back to having no idea what this team is doing. My stocks on them are falling very quickly because this like I well, no like I was not happy about this match from Houston. They did not perform with any sort of like consistency. They missed chances. They didn't create well. It looks like they're not sure what to do right now.
Yeah, they're not. They're definitely not in the best form. I mean, they beat SKC at the weekend, but before that, they had lost. They tied St. Louis, lost to Dallas, lost to Austin before that. So
And
they're
lost to
kind
Austin
of
again. So
yeah. They've struggled in the Copa Tejas. Lost to
Yeah.
Austin, lost to Dallas.
they're out of it then. At that
Yeah,
point,
lost to
there's
Austin
there's
again.
yeah.
And their next game is
Yeah,
Dallas
so-
at home. So
Oh my gosh.
sheesh.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not touching that, but I think they'll win it because they might look at it and say, "Look, this is the last Texas team we play. We need to get a win over
Literally,
some
yeah.
Texas team."
They've got to. So
Yeah. So.
yeah,
All
I
right.
think that's all I've got on it. I mean, yeah.
Sounds good. We got two more to go. Oh, this one's a joy. We got Chicago 0, Charlotte 1. Kalina with some amazing like saves of his life there at the end to keep this 1-0. So Chicago had chances. They had some absolute like again phenomenal saves from Kalina that they had to happen. Otherwise, Chicago was getting a goal and either getting a draw or even who knows, like if they keep those chances up, they might have even put in two. Charlotte, they were denied a handball. VAR recommended looking at it. The referee elected to stick with his call on the field, which was no handball. I understand why the referee did not want to give a handball here, but it's a letter of the law handball that the vast majority of the time they give. Like I know, Gavin, you and I talk about like letter of the law versus spirit of the law, but we can't ask for like consistency from refs and like being sensible and then being like, oh, but this thing that we like have given all the time throughout the season tonight, we're not giving it. No.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. And then I mean otherwise it's a 1-goal win for Charlotte. They're playing some pretty gritty games. And I don't know, like this is if they could have potentially drawn or lost to Chicago, they need to find some sort of attacking star. And I guess that's what the summer's for. Like they sent all these people away. So
I mean,
maybe
yeah,
when summer
Charlotte
rolls
doesn't.
around-
Charlotte never really dominate teams. They really
No.
always play on the margins.
Yeah.
So
You can't do it forever though. Like
Right.
same thing like FC Cincinnati. You can't keep winning these games by one forever.
Yep, I agree with that.
So,
The only thing that I've got here is it's really a moment of this match.
all right, I'm there. Send me.
Chicago are on a 3v2 fast break. They win the ball in midfield. They get it to their main man, Shaqiri. Fast
Yep.
break, 3v2. They're at the halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
Shaqiri takes a shot from the halfway line.
Yep, it sounds like Shaqiri.
That's part of the problem with Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Like, when the moment comes, they mess it up. They find a way to mess it up. And so when that's your main man doing it, it's just like
It tells me they don't trust anyone else on the
What are we
team
doing?
to be able to execute in the moment either, which is the other part of it is when the moment shows up, you don't execute on it. But when you have the moments like that come before the moment, like the not the pass that creates the shot, but like the second pass prior, if they're not making that because they don't think that whoever is going to be on the receiving end of that pass is going to do anything with it, you're losing out on all your chances to be creative and threatening.
Yeah.
Because you're not making the pass. So
It's, yeah. And then just funny to call out, I mean, I never really pay attention to these ratings, but Shaqiri had the worst player rating on the pitch on FUTMob. 5.8. I'm sure that shot didn't help. Somehow it had a 0.02 XG from down at half field. So that's why I don't trust FUTMob's XG. So
well, maybe they're thinking, hey, look, people take shots from, midfield all the time to chip the keeper, and there enough of them go in that the XG from a shot at that spot is higher.
Right.
Because situationally and contextually, it tends to be that they're chipping the keeper, so it's a low save percentage. It's just difficult to make, but 1 out of 50 of those chips goes in. Yeah, I mean, you see it happen often enough.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, that's all we got. Westwood's free kick was good, but that's it.
Right. Excellent, too. That one, I
Beautiful.
celebrated extremely hard. I texted you when that kick went in, and I was like, Gavin, it's happening. It's all caps.
Well, yeah.
Last one, Gavin. I've thrown Orlando 0, Miami 0 into this category as well.
Yeah, this was definitely a match on the margins. Honestly, this match looked like both teams kind of like shook hands and said, we're okay with the 0-0. It was a very slow match for the most part. It didn't have a lot of bite in it. I mean, there was one point where Luis Suarez took out Galese, and usually that incites a brawl, a huge fight. And our defenders just kind of stood there and just watched Galese writhe around in pain on the floor. And Suarez just got up and stood over him and was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And just people were standing there. It was definitely a low intensity game. Just felt like that shake hand 0-0. Let's keep it going. Orlando definitely had the better chances on the night, but our attack is just a mess right now. So Miami got away with one, I think, and 0-0. On Miami's side, they didn't really create much. They had one ball across the box that we cleared, but other than that, nothing crazy. And the Messi-less Miami continue to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, last time they had no Messi, they got destroyed by New York Red Bulls. So I guess this is improvement, right?
And they've lost to Montreal as well.
Ooh.
I think they have 1 win, now 2 draws and 2 losses or something like that without him. It's night and day.
Copa America is going to be very interesting for Miami.
Yeah, so.
All right.
That's all I've got on the match. You got anything?
Well, no.
Any questions for me?
I don't know. Are you in pain watching Pineda? Or not Pineda, Pareja? I'm assuming you're in pain watching Pineda. But
I like the new tactic where we're pushing our left back way up. This formation isn't even right. Torres started at left wing back and Gula started at right wing back for everyone watching the stream. But
did he do that?
I like the new tactic. It's just our players in attack. The movements and the decision making in the final third is just really poor. It's almost down to the players rather than the tactic, in my opinion, right now.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. I mean, I guess it's easy to replace 1 or 2 players.
Yeah.
But... All right, Gavin, I'm going to take us to a different topic. I think I'm going to do 2 halves make a whole.
Okay.
And we're going to kick that off with Portland 4, San Jose 2. San Jose went into the half leading 2-0. They also went into the half with the hottest of hot mics still going. I don't know if you saw that as it spread around on Twitter. There was a radio commentator who was like the local commentary. Yeah, and he was like, hey. And he was asking, I guess, someone off mic, like, you want to go coach this? Like, couldn't be much worse. Anyways, Portland came out and scored 4 goals in the second half and won. So, I mean, obviously they must have changed the coach or something. Because
all right, just hold on a sec. I'm gonna play the audio for the people at home.
Yeah.
Right,
an immediate copyright strike is coming.
No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
This team.
Oh, I talked over it.
You want to come coach this team? Can't be any worse.
I hear nothing.
Yeah, I know you can't hear anything. But, yeah. Pretty brutal. Do you want to come coach this team? It can't be any worse. That's rough.
If only we had the actual audio on the recording.
Hey, something worked, right? They got the comeback. What'd you make of the red card?
I mean, I had less of an issue with it with some other red cards that we saw on the night, which we're going to talk about one that I really hated in the next match. So, it wasn't the worst I'd ever seen, but
yeah, this one's hard. I think it is if you call it a foul, it's a red card because he's literally stopping the goal. So that's the hard part with this one. It's just another one of those handball, like his arm isn't really all that out. I don't think the ball may have just hit him.
It's a letter of the law.
Yeah, I don't know.
I get it's probably not the spirit of the law, but
right.
It's a letter of the law.
Yeah, so. But props to Portland, that they're 2-0 down, and then halfway through the second half, like you said, they're still 2-0 down, red card penalty, and the momentum just shifted majorly, and they go and score 3 more goals after the penalty to win 4-2. Do you put that down to San Jose's defense with 10 men being poor, or just Portland having a really good offense?
Here's the thing, Gavin. I firmly believe San Jose would give up 4 goals even with 11 men on the field.
They didn't really look like it prior to the red card, though.
Do you have a dog in your background right now? Wait, what is your dog doing? Oh my god!
I muted it for the stream, but she was like digging on the bed.
Oh my gosh!
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I was like, Gavin, are you okay there?
Yeah, we're fine.
And then I remember that you have some of the most energetic animals in the world living with you.
Yeah, we're good.
Is your dog thirsty? Or are we gonna hear the loudest drinking of water in the world next?
No, there's no water in the water bowl. She finishes it as soon as I pour water in there.
Okay, so Gavin is, dehydrating his dogs. What you heard here first.
Confirmed.
Gavin hates giving water to animals.
Absolutely.
So
sorry.
Yeah. Okay, Gavin. Here's the thing. I don't rate San Jose's defense very high because yes, while they can look completely competent 1 second, they can also completely fall apart. And I'm gonna be honest. I smashed the over on this game when I saw that it was Portland San Jose. The over was at 2.5, and I was like, we're getting way more than 2.5 goals.
Yeah, that was always happening. Yep.
Yeah. For the record, I missed out on this one because St. Louis LAFC, they ruled off that St. Louis goal. Otherwise, I would have had the over 2.5 on that one and would have won.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
That one was correct, though.
Yeah, barely correct. It was close, but yeah.
I will say, on the game-winning penalty call, I was not a fan of that call. So not the red card, but the
No.
one where the ref initially called the foul on Rodriguez, I think it was. To me, I think it's just a coming together, both players going for the ball, and I feel like they both get there at the same time, really. I couldn't believe that the VAR told him to go to the monitor for that. I don't think it's a clear and obvious error. You could say it's a foul for running into the keeper. You could say it's a penalty, I guess. I think it's just a coming together. I wish the ref would have just let play continue. So
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that one, but I'm sure San Jose fans aren't a fan of it either, because they were technically still up 2-2 and we're going to get a point, but ref had to play hero ball for Portland.
Yeah. Yeah, refs were pretty involved in some matches this Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, they were.
So
Midweek madness,
hey,
baby.
Midweek madness. Anything else you want to talk about Portland, San Jose before we move on?
Nope.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm holding my hands up. I just hope that San Jose can continue their good run of form after this, because they've been doing pretty well, winning away, winning home, comeback wins, stuff like that. I just hope they throw this match away and continue their good run. I hope this doesn't ruin it.
I would love for them to maintain that mental toughness, but I'm not very high on San Jose's consistency.
Yeah, me neither.
I always look at San Jose and I feel like San Jose watching them play is like that we choose to go to the moon speech. We choose to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. And it's like San Jose is like, we choose to play this way, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Yeah. And when they play well, it's beautiful and they're so much fun to watch, but they don't always play beautiful, and it is not always very fun to watch. So,
bingo.
Yeah. All right. Now, are you done, Gavin?
Yes.
Sorry. Move us along. Okay. We're going to go to another match with controversial red card. St. Louis 0, LAFC 2. Second goal. I'm assuming you saw it. The Denny Buonga receives, gets the ball, runs half the field, basically free, and then cheeky chips the keeper right at the end to, dagger in like 1 minute left of stoppage time in like the 90+5 minute. I mean, totally unnecessary goal because they were going to win at that point anyways, but it was really fun to watch it.
Got to beef up the goals scored for Danny Buonga for sure.
Yeah,
it's the missed penalty for me from Joao Klaus early on in this match. Got to be scoring that. He does not fool Hugo Lloris at all. Lloris stands his ground, waits for him to try the fake, and he does. And when the goalkeeper doesn't move and you're doing that run up, it's like, oh, well, what do I do? What do I do? And then you just kind of hit it one way, and
I hate it. I hate dumb run-ups so much. Gavin, this is my biggest pet peeve. Like every single thing in soccer is like, if I could make one thing illegal, just arbitrarily and democratically, I would outlaw, ban, suspend anyone for 30 days who does the stupid run-ups.
Yep. I don't blame you.
I do it for, their own good is basically what it comes down to. Because like, they don't like, okay. Like, do they work occasionally? Sure. But you also completely screw them up, or you sky it, or you psych yourself out, or the goalkeeper doesn't get faked out, and then he's just like, now you're 2 steps away from the ball, and you have no momentum. Where are you going to send it now?
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
Exactly.
Yeah, it just... When you don't do that in front of goal when it's one-on-one with the keeper in the run of play, so why are you doing it on a PK?
Well, yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
What's the thing that you would do when you normally score a goal? Go do that instead.
Smash it in the back of the net?
Yeah, just swing your foot through it, like with enough power and control that the goalkeeper can't do anything about it. Done. I say, sitting here in an office chair, not playing professional soccer.
The sport, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, props to St. Louis fans. Stadium was pretty sold out. for a midweek match. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Um,
Red card, by the way.
soft.
Yep.
Soft.
Not a second yellow, not a red card.
The only thing I was thinking is maybe like Markinich was like being a little pest all game, and maybe like there was, I don't know, like when you're the ref on the field, you hear the shit talking, you hear the back and forth, and let's say the two players were shit talking all match, and Markinich threw the elbow. The ref took it as he did it on purpose. I don't think it's a yellow card though. A second yellow. I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah. That is not enough to send someone off.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
Yeah. So, for the first goal that Bouanga scores, I know we talked about the second one, but the first one, I'm not really sure what St. Louis was doing defensively. I mean, Markinich, I'm going to pick on him. He's way back.
I feel bad for him.
Way back. And then he's trying to do an offside trap.
Mm-hmm.
And the right center back and right back are just standing there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no. You guys are so not communicating right there. At all. But you guys have the wrong strategies, and Bouanga's in, and it's an easy finish. So that was disappointing to see.
And I think the challenge is he's good enough that, like, even if you try and offside trap him, look, he's going to find a way to get back onside.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the time. Like, obviously you'd still do it, but you can't half-heartedly do it. You need to be very, very clearly communicating as a team when you're going to spring that trap.
Yep. We do have a correspondence corner for St. Louis City.
Yeah.
So
it's a long one.
It's a long one, so buckle up.
One. Yeah, I'll drink some water. Go ahead.
It's from Tyler. He says, first and most important, hearts go out to the Lowen family. Today, Thursday, Edward addressed his absence from the team, explaining his wife is battling brain cancer. It's just awful. St. Louis is wholly behind him and what he needs to do, as what's going on off the field far outweighs the game being played on it. So well said there. Against LAFC, that was a performance straight from the barrel of the 2023 City vintage, but not in the way anyone would have liked. There was the missed penalty, there was the first half stoppage, VAR goal, VAR'd off goal, I should say, which by the letter of the law was the right call, and there was the somewhat confounding red card that was, again by the letter of the law, the right call. It was a weird game. But none of that weirdness changes the fact that this team got shaken mentally at halftime and came out of the tunnel for the second a shell of itself. That's what felt like 2023, a team unable to respond to negative momentum. There was no shortage of opportunity, but no one was mentally capable of capitalizing once LAFC seized control of the scoreline. It's all about how you finish, and City finished with more than a few wheels missing. No one liked it. I'm not going to blame the ref, that's not my job. The game was controllable, City let it get out of control. Simply put, that second half was a burn the tape performance. Let's hope the players agree and respond. Well said. Props to LAFC for season control. We didn't talk a lot about them, but it's really the Denny Bouanga show in front of net, and then an even match all the way around.
Yeah, and look, as long as the Denny Bouanga show keeps getting renewed, then they're going to continue to do well this season. So, okay. All right, I'm going to move on to talking about a team that has so far not been doing too well this season, yet they still got the win. Nashville 2, Toronto 0. They went into the half 0-0, and it looked like it was going to stay 0-0 all the way until late in the second half, like 81st minute. Nashville gets the first goal. I think stoppage time, they get the second. Toronto staying in this game that long, missing a number of players. There was the scuffle. I think they had Herdman suspended, Sean Johnson suspended, Richie Larea suspended for multiple matches. I think Bernadeschi suspended as well for this one.
He got a red card, didn't he, in that match?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, it's just like Toronto missing huge numbers of players. Then, then Nashville won it, and Gary Smith's gone the next day.
Yeah. I kind of forgot about the, not necessarily the scuffle, but I kind of forgot about the suspensions because I was just thinking about this.
Turnaround.
Yeah, I was thinking about this result, and like Toronto have just been really confusing me this year.
I don't read into this one.
They've had good wins, they've had bad losses, they're all over the place, and I was considering this a bad loss, but totally forgot about all the suspensions. So maybe that kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, with the suspensions, with Herdman gone, with everything going on, I don't read into this at all for Toronto. That said, Nashville new coach bounce coming up. Obviously gonna charge up the table from almost last place to mid-table.
You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head yes.
Yeah, book it 100%. They're gonna play with joy. I can't wait to see what they roll out. Or I say this, and they're going to roll out like the exact same thing this coming week. It's going to be like, you had a chance, no.
Yeah, what I'm more excited to see is how is Hani Mukhtar used? How is he revitalized? Do we start to see MVP Mukhtar come back? Because we haven't seen him for quite a while.
I don't know if that man's still there.
I hope so. Because he's
gotta
been
hope so, but
hidden in the tomb of Gary Smith for quite too long. Last thing I'll call out, I don't know if you saw the second goal, but like they cut, so Nashville has the ball and they're just chilling with the ball in their half, and they cut to the stoppage time and it's like +5, and then they cut back to the screen and Tyler Boyd is running down the field. It's like, how did Toronto give that ball away? They were comfortably in their half with no one pressing them. How does Nashville have the ball right now? We cut away for like a split second. And then next thing you know, the cross is in and they score, and it's like, what the heck just happened? So I'd love to hear how Toronto managed to give that ball away. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it ends up not mattering all that much because by that point in time, I think everyone had kind of moved on. So
yeah. Last thing I'll call out is props to the Nashville players. It feels like they fought to the end for Gary. I don't think they ever gave up on him.
You had two last things that you called out on. This
Yeah. My bad. I always do that.
So yeah.
I'm done now. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Positive. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Peace held.
Okay. One last chance. You sure?
Nothing.
Okay. We're moving on. We're going to NYCFC 2, Philadelphia 1. Gavin, you did not believe me. You questioned my conviction on this match. NYC went into the half up 2-0 after being motivated by an all-star appearance by Raquinho the Raccoon. Record-setting performance from the Raccoon was caught and released. We found out today. I believe USA Today reported it. They did the hard-hitting journalism work. They, got out there on the phones. They cornered people. They said, "What happened to the Raccoon?" Turns out the Raccoon was safely released. I hate that. That's the story of the first half. Despite NYCFC going in to the half up 2-0, but everyone's just going to remember the Raccoon.
Oh yeah, how could you not remember the Raccoon?
Yeah, I literally only sent Raccoon videos to people on social media who maybe didn't watch this match, who follow other leagues, and I was just like, I love MLS admins having fun because all Philadelphia and NYCFC were leaning into it. MLS Communications was leaning into it.
There was
MLS,
an article on CNN about it.
Yeah, Topps, the trading card company, made a joke card that they're gonna so many people leaned into it. I love that this was something that people leaned into and had fun with. You need more of that. So really well done to social
that's what
media
we've talked
admins.
about before, like in terms of marketing strategy. Like I feel like we've had the very conversation of when something comes up, lean into it, lean into it, lean into it. Go as
Have
hard
fun
as you
with it.
can on it. And there are articles all over the place on it. It's all over Twitter. It was BR Football was posting about it. Like absolutely just go ham on it. So props to the team for doing that, to the MLS team for doing that. It worked out pretty well.
It did work out well.
As for
back
the
to the
match,
game, though.
yeah. Philip, I mean, how could they lose 4 games in a row at home? Like, what is that about?
We talked about this. Philadelphia has defensive issues. We literally talked about this Monday, Gavin.
Yeah. A lot of NYCFC did a great job of creating a lot of transition opportunities.
They're playing with a lot of belief and confidence right now. That doesn't hurt them, and it doesn't help Philly because
right. They're doing the opposite. I mean, they have pretty much their starting lineup out there. Elliott was back in the lineup. Carranza was in the lineup. Here, I'll pull up the lineup for our viewers. I mean, y'all tell me who's missing. Martinez, I guess? He's a good player, but that's not the difference between a win and a loss, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I mean, NYCFC
Sullivan,
just got that first goal, and I think that first goal was super important, and it kind of killed the spirit of Philadelphia almost so early in the match, and they've been struggling at home, and it's like, here we go again. That's what it felt like.
I will say, I was nervous when the second half kicked off, and I was like, man, like, I feel great about this, 2-0, and it's like 2 minutes in, Philadelphia get a goal, and I'm just like, ooh, it's going to be a long half. And, I mean, they stayed up for the rest of it. I mean, say what you will, like, having a goal happen right at the start of either half can be very demoralizing.
Yep, for sure. Just changes your whole team talk, your whole strategy for the rest of the half, rest of the game.
I mean, you heard it from Coach Joe first. He's Nick Cushing in forever.
Yeah, he doesn't like Philly, so can't blame him.
Yeah.
Always
that's all I got.
Winning away at Philly. Yeah, props to NYCFC. Both of the goals they scored, very high quality. And I thought overall they defended well throughout the match. The only, obviously Philly were putting on a lot of pressure, getting shots off, but it didn't look like there was anything too crazy. I think, is it Freese in net for them? Had to make 1 or 2 decent saves, but I thought they did quite well, NYCFC. And the only goal they ended up giving away was a pretty sneaky free kick, where it was kind of like someone went up to go shoot, I think, and then backheeled it over to Carranza, and he got the clean shot off. I thought that was a pretty good free kick routine. So, yeah, well, that's it.
Are you sure you don't have any last
I'm sure.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to the last one in the category then. Now it's my turn. Last thing here. Minnesota 2, LA Galaxy 2. Hey, here's a fun fact. Both LA Galaxy goal scorers came on in the second half. Both Joveljic and Fagundes were substitutes.
I didn't realize that.
Yep. Fun fact.
What you got on this match? Hit me with it.
I'm going to be honest. This one was one that I was not super following because I was really invested in some other matches that I had money riding on.
Fair. Okay. Major things was Joveljic's goal was just a really good team move. I just committed the cardinal sin. LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy had a really good team move there, and that's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like they either score with a really well-crafted move like that, or just like they get their runners in behind in Paintsil and Peck and Joveljic.
Yeah. They look a different team when Joveljic is on. And you can say what you will about his finishing quality and that, hey, his finishing isn't good enough to be like the star player for LA, or his ability to, take the touch and control the ball, and like he's not consistent enough. Like you can put whatever criticisms you want in there, but the fact is that there's a significant drop off for LA when he is not on the field for them.
And I mean, this season, the finishing quality has been there for him. I mean, he's got... Isn't he up to like 9 goals now or something on the season? Let's go look.
Is he at 9?
I'm pretty sure. 7. He's at 7. 7 goals, 1 assist.
Yeah.
He started off really hot.
Extremely hot. And I am still quite bullish on LA, assuming they can get, Joveljic back into, full, like, looking to go a full, like, 90 or maybe even 75, right? Like, they are a significantly better team with him on the field for longer just because he opens up the actual opportunities with both their wingers. Like, you need that person, right? Like, a good 9, drawing runners, making the late runs, being like the scoring threat so that you can't just like pile guys in the box, or you can't just like mark the wingers. Like, in the system that LA play, you need someone like Joveljic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, that's the person you have, because Miguel Berry is not Joveljic.
Yep. On Minnesota's side of things, just lastly on Galaxy, Paintsill came off injured in the second half. So
you and your last
that's sad
games.
to see. I know, it's terrible. Paintsill off in the second half. Sad to see.
Yep. Hope it's nothing serious.
Well, it looked like he was holding his hamstring, so he'll be out for a little bit. Nothing crazy,
Yeah.
I don't think. But it looked like pulled hammy or something like that.
We hope it is only that.
Or unless it's a cramp. Hopefully it's just a cramp. But
I would love for it to be a cramp. I would be a huge fan of it being a cramp.
Yeah. And then Bongi Banger is what I wrote for Longwane's goal. So.
Yep. Death, taxes, FC Cincinnati winning by 1 goal margin, and Bongi Longwane bangers. So
love it.
4 things are inevitable.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got on that one.
All right. Perfect. Well, Gavin, I will let you choose our last topic for this week. Would you like to talk about Smells Like Team Spirit, or would you like to talk about Smells Like Team Spirit?
I think Smells Like Team Spirit. Let's do it.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to do Montreal 1, Columbus 3. Columbus looked like they actually cared again about this match, despite Cucho being rotated out for this match. I think they're starting to, look again. They're looking forward at that CONCACAF match where it's like, you can say, oh, it's still 2.5, 3 weeks out. Gavin, if they're rotating big players that are difference makers, they care about that match, and that's what they're still focusing on. And yet, they go out, get a 3-goal win. They looked good.
Yeah, this one was a lock for me this weekend. I don't know what it was about it. Just 7 games without a win had to end at some point. That's
Gambler's fallacy.
Nope, it wasn't a fallacy today or yesterday.
You also said Chicago can't keep not winning. They're going to win tonight. So
then they lost. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they lost, and I
Good job. You don't
told you
listen
the
to me.
same thing.
Yeah.
And I said, Gavin, that's gambler's fallacy.
So Columbus
they're
ended their
1 for 2.
7-match. Yeah. Columbus ended their 7-match winless streak. No Cucho, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Rossi, I think, got a pretty good goal in this one. So
was that the 3rd goal?
I think it was either the 2nd or the 3rd goal. Maybe it was
literally
the 3rd
pull
goal.
it up.
You could. You have.
Right now.
You have the ability to do so. We have the technology.
Rossi was the 2nd goal. Hinostroza's goal, though, the 3rd one, was a thing of beauty. I'll tell you what. And then CF Montreal, I mean, they got the fast start, but they didn't score. That was the problem. They created some chances early on, but...
Does it feel like Montreal are kind of like settling in? Like, we always hit a point in the season when like you can start to predict teams, right? Like there's always some volatility early. And I think some of our bets, we have had volatility where we're like, I never would have guessed that this team would lose to this one. And I feel like Montreal are starting to hit that settling point where we can start to expect roughly what we're seeing out of them.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's been a rough few, like almost like a rough month and a half for Montreal, I want to say.
Yeah.
Let's look at their past fixtures, see what they've got going
Not
on.
great.
Lost to Columbus, lost to Miami, tied Forge. I know you watched that game. Lost to Nashville,
I did watch that game.
tie against Columbus, tie against Orlando. Then their last one was over Cincinnati.
Lost to Forge too, is the crazy thing.
Yeah. And then before the loss to Cincinnati was 3 losses in a row. So it's been a rough season, really.
The win over Cincinnati.
April. Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah. Rough. Yeah.
Do you think these teams are... Do you think they're rivals?
No.
Just because of the you don't think they are, even with all the Nancy stuff? They've got them in rivalry week.
They put Columbus, FC Cincinnati in rivalry week, and they put plenty of non-rivalry matches into rivalry week. So,
okay.
I mean,
I'm sure the Montreal fans don't like the Columbus club at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. Who did we have last week? Like Philadelphia, Orlando was during rivalry week. That's not a rivalry.
That's like a... No, but those are two teams that don't like each other. Just
Montreal, Miami. That's not a rivalry.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
New England, New York Red Bulls. I mean, every single Red Bulls match is a rivalry match. So that one checks out. Nashville, Charlotte, not a rivalry. MLS isn't even trying to force it. They're too busy trying to force Nashville, Atlanta, or Nashville, Orlando, or Nashville, whatever team is south of them.
Yeah. I think Nashville and Red Bulls don't like each other either, right?
I mean, nobody likes Red Bulls. I don't.
Yeah. Red Bulls.
Where's the common denominator here?
Yeah, they're the problem child.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, speaking of Red Bulls, I'm going to move us to this next match. DC United 1, New York Red Bulls 4. I got to say, DC kind of looked lost on the night.
I couldn't believe it. I thought DC had this one. I thought they were going to win this. Red Bulls they were just efficient.
Bulls were on parade?
Yeah. Yeah, they were.
Here's the thing. Red Bulls scoring a lot of goals on DC is, I think, exactly what you would expect because DC has been letting plenty of goals get scored on them. It's just they get bailed out by Benteke being the most dominant aerial player in the entire league.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, you could almost put this into fine margins, right? Because, that's not going to work forever. If you give up tons of goals, the guy you rely on to score tons of goals sometimes isn't going to score tons of goals, and then you just don't win.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And, I think the crazy goal from Manuel, the insane chip he did, the chip volley, I think that just kind of shocked DC a bit, kind of came out of nowhere. And then they come out of halftime, and if you're viewing the screen, Manuel scores right before halftime, 45+2. And then DC come out, and they're pushing, and I think they just pushed too hard. And then it's a goal in the 52nd minute. It's a goal in the 57th minute. Both on transition. Goal. DC I think they just got too antsy trying to get that one goal back. And in doing so, they threw the rest of the match away. And before they knew it, they were down 3-0. So, props to New York Red Bulls on managing the game well.
Really good comprehensive team performance.
4-1 on the road is nothing to sniff at. That's a pretty good result because the team is in good form.
Why is it DC is the one that seems to always have this happen to them? Because they would lose to Philadelphia 6-0 on the road and 6-0 at home.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's a team every year that just dunks on DC in both home and away. Maybe it's gonna be Red Bulls this year.
It might be. Yeah, I don't know.
They've only played once. DC United, right?
Let's look at their head-to-head. Yeah, they played in that was their first one of the season.
Okay. Well, we'll see what they do later on this year then.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to be like, oh yeah, we'll see what they do Saturday when they play again.
No, their next one's June 29th.
That would be insane. It reminds me of like the Toronto FC Cincinnati matchup that happened, I want to say 2 years ago, where they played 5 days apart. It was like they played in Toronto and then they got like, they may as well have just all taken the same flight and they just played later on, like 5 days later in Cincinnati. And I was just like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember this because I was in Toronto for that match. And then I was just like, I'm not going to this home match because I just got back from Toronto and I'm tired and I just watched this
You
match.
just watched this exact match.
I literally just watched this. I'm okay.
Yeah. All right, let's close that one out.
Close it out. Hey, RSL 2, Seattle 0. RSL, I don't know what Pablo has done. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what he's done to figure out how to make this team work, but he's figured out how to make it work using what feels like 10 defensive players and, Chicho as a lone offensive player, but it works. Now, granted, Seattle as a team just seems to not really have any real drive to be consistent this season. So that probably doesn't hurt RSL's chances. But yeah, RSL continue to look good. They're top of the West right now, post-win.
RSL feel like the real deal, man.
But we say this every year.
No, we don't. No, we do not.
We said this in...
I said this last summer.
Year. Yeah.
Yes.
And then they turned out to not be the real deal.
They got a key injury. They've got a better squad now.
Yes.
Like, they've got some youngsters coming up. And Luna's had more time, more experience. Last season was like his first season breaking out. He's got a little bit more of that under his belt. They've got Anelli in midfield. I think that's how you say his name, Anelli. Let me go pull it up. But, they lost Pablo Ruiz again, and they're still doing this. Part of that is what makes me feel like they are the real deal. They are killing it right now.
Maybe they realize that they're going to get Pablo Ruiz injured every year, so they actually made a plan for it this time.
Crazy idea, right? Absolute bonkers.
Insane having a
Gomez
plan.
Up top has been killing it for them. I'm looking at the stats here. It says he had 7 shots in this match. That's insane.
That's a ton of shots.
Yeah, probably a couple blocked, but still. Yeah, 2 blocked
Even in my
shots.
younger days, I wouldn't have 7 shots at the bar in that time, let alone,
Yeah. So, I to me, RSL feel like the real deal.
All right. I want to believe. Yeah.
Okay. They're also like basically my Vancouver for you. I don't love them that much, but I do like them a lot. I like what they're doing. We do have a correspondent corner for this one, and I'll actually bring that up.
Well, which one is this one? Because there's 2
RSL.
teams that were in this match.
RSL.
Despite the fact that, one of the teams looked like they didn't want to be there.
RSL.
Okay.
Let me pull up Twitter.
Proceed.
Yeah. Okay. Let's zoom in here so you guys can't see the other one. So from Mike, we already read Tyler's. From Mike Miller, he said, RSL took another step toward becoming an elite team on Wednesday with 2 goals coming without a contribution from Chicho Arango. Entering the match, the team had scored 20 goals, 18 of which had been scored or assisted by Chicho. So getting either a goal or an assist from the attacking trio of Luna, Crooks, Gomez showed the team's ongoing versatility in attack. An MLS best 5th clean sheet, tied with 4 other teams, certainly doesn't hurt either. Oh, and RSL still has 2 DP spots to play with this summer. I'm telling you, they're the real deal.
They look promising.
They're the real deal.
They look promising.
Yeah. So that's all I got on RSL. Seattle don't look like the real deal. They just look like what you said earlier. They're just kind of coasting through the season.
Yeah. no further thoughts on Seattle. I'm all right. So, Gavin, somehow being brilliant, we're getting very close to 90 minutes. That gives us just enough time to, for at least one of us, throw money into into a fire. I apparently am now on a 1 week winning streak. So
Yeah.
What you got this week? What you got?
Let me pull up. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look at it.
I've got 2 different 3 legs that I'm looking at. And I think the one that I want to lock in this week is another set of 3 money lines.
Hold on, I gotta get the verification text.
All right. Well, while you're doing that,
I looked at it earlier today. I don't know why it's not.
you should just have a photographic memory then, Gavin.
Oh yeah, totally. That's how it works, right?
All right, Gavin, here's what I'm locking in this week.
What you got?
I'm taking the Philadelphia Union over the New England Revolution. Because, I mean, let's be real, the Revolution are not a good team. And even with Philadelphia's issues on defense, the Revolution, I don't think will score more than 1 goal on them, and Philly just need to score 2. So there you go. I'm also going to take the Columbus Crew over the Chicago Fire.
Yep.
Which feels very safe.
Yep.
And then I'm finally going to take Minnesota United over Portland, and Minnesota are at home for this one. So
that's pretty good.
I do feel quite confident in it. I'll tell you, I actually have a second 3-leg that I wouldn't mind locking in, but I'll do that as like a bonus one.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got?
I did a 2-leg of Columbus, Minnesota, but for my 3, I am. I'm telling you, I'm done with money lines right now for the 3. I'm trying to catch up. It's
not helping you. You've been doing non-money lines for like 5 weeks now.
It's doing nothing. Okay, NYCFC versus New York Red Bulls over 1.5 goals.
Oh my gosh, you may as well just. Will there be a goal in a match? Yes.
Literally.
Yeah,
so
you're
2
gonna
goals
start taking.
In that one.
Can't wait till you start taking over 0.5s.
Yeah. Inter Miami versus DC United over 2.5. One's a little riskier, but.
Interestingly enough, I actually have Inter Miami DC United over 2.5 on a separate 3-leg.
I don't know. It just feels like there will be 3 goals in that one.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be all Benteke too.
And then the most obvious one, Minnesota versus Portland, both teams to score, yes.
Yeah, that's Minnesota Portland is one that I also have an over on. So
I'm hoping I can catch up to you and you lose this weekend somehow. Even though your 3-leg looks like a complete lock at the moment.
Yeah. So I feel confident in it. That's why I locked it in.
I don't feel confident.
I'll tell you this, Gavin. I had a little bit of fun with a different 3-leg. I wanted to try out something that I actually felt kind of confident in. It's result and total goals. I took FC Cincinnati and total goals over 2.5. Columbus Crew and over 2.5, and then Minnesota and over 2.5. Because I think there'll be more than 2 goals in Minnesota Portland. Surely there's going to be more than 2 goals in a Columbus Chicago match, and Cincinnati St. Louis is the only one that scares me, if I'm being quite honest. But
I would probably do a different match just because you guys have, unless you got another 2-1 win coming up.
It's very possible.
Very possible.
Because I think they're going to run out Kelsey again. I'm assuming he was just cramping when he came off the field. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of creativity between Valenzuela, Kelsey, and Acosta. And assuming that everyone's healthy, I think that 65-ish minutes they had playing with each other is probably going to help them get a better idea of who's going to play where they're going to drop, what kind of runs they're going to look to make. So, I actually feel marginally confident about it.
Yeah. Well, good luck, my friend. You had a good
thank you.
You had a good midweek this week.
I had a great midweek. I could have had an even better one if not for Houston just destroying my hopes.
Damn Houston.
And VAR not taking away that goal for St. Louis. So
yeah, correctly though.
Shame.
Correctly.
Yeah, shame. So
All right. Well, I guess we better get out of here. If you
I suppose so.
didn't watch the stream, because we didn't really. I guess we never really announced that we were streaming today. That's on me. Earlier, because we don't usually record on Thursdays, but midweek calls for overtime, like I said earlier. But head over to YouTube, go check out the new overlay. If you liked seeing the stats and the lineups that I was sharing screen while we were talking, let us know. If you hated it, let us know. We'll take your feedback from there. And I'm interested to hear about this idea that you said Dana had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have to hear more about that after log off.
I need a little bit more time to be able to prep that correctly. So
okay, sounds good.
This was overtime and it was short notice today. But,
yeah, short notice.
Yep. Gavin, we are big on content, and we got to get into mid-season form for when Leagues Cup rolls around, and we do way more podcasting for that. So, with that though, we always want to just say thank you to everyone who continues to listen to support the show. For the people who tuned in live, thank you very much for spending some time with us on a Thursday night. Just remember, you can find the podcast on social media at MLS Now Podcast. You can find Gavin on social media at LionsBlog1. You can find me on social media at Mr. Danger Russ. Listeners, viewers, Gavin, till next time.
Till next time.